It works. Hi everyone, I'm Tomasz. I'm technical. Actually, I will introduce myself in a moment. So, as it was mentioned, we want to show you a new tool. It's open source, and you can use it from today onwards. So we'll talk about the whole thing in a moment, and we'll explain what it is. So, I'm Tomasz, I'm a technical architect. Together with me today on the stage is Krystian. Krystian is the brain of the whole operation. He actually wrote most of the tool and invented it. I'm just taking some perks for it, right? I'm just here to, get the fame without actually doing much. So yeah, that's me. We are from VML. Actually, our mother company, the mothership WPP, decided not to merge us with anyone this year. So we're still called VML, the same as last year. Some of you might know us under the name Cognified because that's how the company was originally born. We are still based in Poznań, and it's still an awesome place to work, but yeah, went after quite a few renames now. So, what we're going to talk about today and what's going to happen on the stage. First, we'll tell you why on earth did we create yet another tool for running scripts and for managing permissions. There are so many already, so we'll try to explain why did we even do it. We'll show you a live demo. Obviously, that's the first and foremost reason why we are here today. And then we're going to do a bit of competitor analysis, right? We have to prove the point that this is actually the best tool that you want to use from tomorrow onwards, right? So we need to compare ourselves a bit. And then we'll tell you, we'll try to explain to you how it can fix your problems that you might have today with your content permissions and other things. So why do we need another tool? Well, if you look at the landscape of the tools we have around permissions, the famous Groovy Console that Adobe guys, especially the cloud service guys, all love. The fact that it can change anything in any moment of time on a running instance, right? I'm sure they appreciate it. It's been all aging, right? The UI of it, the backend, and many principles have changed over time, but these tools have stayed where they have stayed, right? So we've been trying to refresh the whole thing, think about the developers, think about their experience, because happy developers just deliver better code and they deliver better software. And here you can see an example of how, like a German developer, after running those tools for years on AEM, what happens, right? It's CCTV from last week, basically. So, yeah. Okay. So let me try to tell you what ACM really is. So first and foremost, you can think that it's yet another iteration like over what Groovy Console tries to do, what AECU tries to do. We have APM, ACS Common Reports, AC Tool for permissions. There are so many. So we've tried to club it all into one and just make them no longer needed. Probably it's just that one tool that allows you to solve most of your problems related to automation and operations on AEM installation. Completely fresh new approach to writing Groovy scripts. So this is not tied to Groovy Console in any shape and form. Groovy Console served its purpose, but it also aged pretty badly. Now it has ownership challenges, let's call them that way. So yeah, there's all kinds of stuff that happened in there. So indeed, underneath it uses Groovy for scripting, but it has no ties with Groovy Console whatsoever. It has a completely fresh Monaco, like VS Code style editor with real-time compilation and like auto-completion. You'll see all of that in a moment. The tool aims to help you with all of your permission schemes, right? So it has a whole bunch of helper methods for automating permissions, applying permissions to content. So no more custom DSLs, etc. Again, you'll see that in a moment. You can write it to generate all kinds of reports, which we'll show you also during the demo. And I would say that pretty boldly, you can probably automate any repetitive task that you have on AEM with it and schedule it if you want to. So, enough me talking. It's showtime. I'll give it to Krystian to walk you through a live demo.
Hi guys, it's always great to be here again. May I check if, yep, screen sharing, console is okay, basics checked, internet is okay. Okay, let's proceed with demo. This will be a live demo. Just imagine I have, or not imagine, this is real running AEM on-premise 6.5.0 with ACM Tool installed, and here we have the most recent AMS Cloud Service version, so that's a little proof that ACM Tool works everywhere, all full range of versions of AM. And just let's do a quick hello adaptTo world, let's say. And may I show you how different ACM Tool is when comparing to Groovy Console? I'm calling it that's a Groovy Console on steroids, and I could tell you why. It's much more safe, because whenever our instance will become unstable, for example, we are just triggering instability by stopping some bundle, you could notice that ACM will not allow any executions anymore. Yeah, so we could check what happened. Yeah, we could make our instance stable again, and everything will be back working. And okay, that's the very first thing, the safeness. Let's maybe play a bit with writing some scripts and how it looks differently. So for example, let's define variable equal to resource resolver from bindings, and then iconic adaptTo, of course. Yeah, that's intentional. And notice that we could use any class importable from OSGI here. Yeah, so it's also safe. It's guaranteed by ACM Tool. We have IDE like experience. I just quickly imported the class. Yeah, so this is quite cool to use. And even more, whenever we will use just define variable, then get page, then even repository paths are suggested. They are read live from repository, so there is less space for errors for sure. Yeah, that's very cool to work with. What is more, the editor is based on Monaco, which is a base for any VS Code like tools or IDEs. So we have quite a power here. So for example, we could do something like that. Quickly rename variable. We have even a command palette here. Yeah, so there is a help button here to help you finding it. So we could do any command like we know from VS Code, yeah, basically. So that's quite powerful. And we also have quick feedback loop, because whenever we will do a syntax error, for example, just see that compilation is done whenever we will type the script, yeah? So we will know about the errors much more quickly. That's very comfortable to work with. All right, maybe let's do that. These were basics. Maybe let's do something more advanced now. Yeah, so imagine that we have some long-running Groovy script. Yeah, it will run for about 40 seconds. Every second, we will print something to the console. And now, check this out. What will happen? So now we have live output. Finally, in Groovy Console, we don't have it. Yeah, so this is dramatic change, I believe, to work with when we are working with that. But even more, let's do a whoops situation. Yeah. Who just closed, Groovy Console in the past, yeah? So what then? We could just go to the code executor. Everything is executed asynchronously. We have a queue, and we could even go to the particular execution and still review the output live, yeah? And even more, we could abort any execution. So whenever we will do a recursion, we will try to delete the path that we don't want it to delete. We are safe. We could, stop it, yeah, at least. All right. Let's, thanks. That's a good feedback. What could we do more? Yes, for example, let's run some script and then do oopsie one more time. And then let's do the same execution. Let's repeat something, yeah? And check this out. Now the script is queued, yeah? So ACM is preventing executing more than one execution at the same time. And this is for the safety reasons, yeah? To not, do parallel repository writes and so on, to avoid, awk constraints and so on. All right. Maybe I'll slow down a bit, yeah, too quickly. That's my style, sorry. Okay, everything is audited in the console. So whoever will do some errors, I don't know, abort operations, we will see everything in the console. Even more, we will see what code was, problematic, what outputs were there. Everything is in the history. Yeah, so I believe it's pretty straightforward. We have filters per user, I don't know, per status. That's very, very comfortable to work with. I believe for everybody it should be straightforward to understand. All right. ACM also comes with manual scripts concept. So just imagine that manual scripts are things. We are just saving some scripts under some predetermined directory, let's say, and then imagine that we could each script just run from here, yeah? So they are, pre-saved, let's say. And what is cool about ACM, it allows to define inputs for the script. So with such a, let's say, DSL-like syntax, we could define as many inputs as you want, with any types you want, supported by ACM. So we have strings, dates, times, files from our disk, repositories, paths, and so on. And to just read the values, we need to use such a syntax. Yeah? Inputs.value, and that's it. So maybe let's check how it works in practice. So ACM just called that describe run method. Now it knows what inputs are required. Yeah, we have even validation here. We have these specific input types here. We have we could configure here JSONs to supply to our scripts, and we could even provide some repository paths. Yeah, select anything, and you consume that value in our script, and we could even upload files from our disk. Yeah, for example. Yeah. Some pic from my pic from vacation, as an example. Yeah. So that may just imagine how many possibilities you will now have with your scripts without editing manually Groovy scripts in the beginning. Yeah. The thing that usually the Groovy Console users are doing every day. Okay. And what is more, scripts could have outputs. Yeah. So just imagine, by just doing such a thing, outputs.make and assigning some variable, then we could, instead of printing to at the top level here, we could just print the report out to that variable we declared here. Yeah. So we'll write some output to the console that like we did in the beginning, let's say, but we could also separate the output to the file. Yeah, that we could download later. So may I show you that? Yeah, so here is that log info here, yeah? But whenever you will go here, you have that report dynamically generated. And imagine that you could produce as many inputs as you want in the loop or something, yeah? So this is very, very cool, I guess, for generating reports about the content, component usages, pages, and so on. Yeah, so this is very, very powerful, I guess. And everything is as a code. That's the main difference when comparing to ACA's Commons report and so on. So it's very, very easy to implement. Okay. Now, may I tell you how to do changes in the repository. So let's consider that repo demo snippet. Yeah, you can ask me what are these snippets. Yeah. So whenever you don't know what to do or how to perform, some save operation, save file repository easily with ACM, you could review these snippets. Yeah. So treat it as a built-in documentation directly into the tool. Yeah. So sometimes it may be useful. Yeah, to just be inspired by these examples provided here. Yeah. All right, so let's use the knowledge we gathered earlier about the inputs. So now we could glue the dry run input, being a Boolean value, with some idiomatic dry run method coming from that repo service, which is very, very cool, believe me. So without a lot of ceremony, try catches, session, revert, etc., you could just orchestrate your dry run with having even toggle as an input. And here is the result of such techniques. So we just wrote a few lines of code. For example, we just performed idempotent save, which will create or update resource. So this is very cool because we just imagine how to do that with pure Sling API. We need to create, get parent, create resource, provide value map, and so on. And that a lot of code is hidden, a lot of ceremony within that save method. And even more, ACM will provide some audit automatically for you. Because check that example. We are doing update property with some lambda, and ACM will produce something like that. But usually, I'm spotting that developers are writing such messages on their own. Yeah, so they every time they need to provide auditing code to print to the output the value before change, after change. But with ACM, this is no longer needed. ACM is doing such auditing automatically for you. So less work to do for developers. Developers could just focus on migration. Everything else is done by ACM. That's needed usually. All right, how about managing permissions with ACM? Let's review together ACL demo. Yep, let's consider such an example. Instead of idempotent repo service, we have idempotent ACL service. Yeah? So we have some DSL-like syntax for creating users. So you could now forget about YAML files or APM language syntax, just regular Groovy code. And you could manage permissions on AEM with that. At Spot, very interesting thing. Here we have OK, changed, which means which indicates the places in which the delta is applied. I mean, in change places, but let me remove the code which is clearing the ACLs, for example. Now we have OK here, which means nothing needs to be done. Yeah, so we could safely repeat that script execution, and we are in the safe place. Yeah, so just imagine combining that technique with automatic script concept. So let's open that ACL example, and the automatic scripts are such a kind of scripts which are defining schedule run method. And then we could write, I don't know, tell ACM that we need to run that script every hour at 10th minute, for example. Yeah, and in that method, we could even say that we want to run our script only author instance, only on particular kind of environment. I don't know, depending on run mode, for example. This is another place that we could control what script will be executed where. And then just imagine that based on the actual content structure that we have in the repository, the website we have, the tenants, and the structure, and the countries that we have created in that tenants, and the languages created in these countries, then we could create automatically specific groups, allowing specific teams, specific business teams, to editing or publishing, working with content in limited piece of repository. So whenever with such a script, whenever some website will be created, or language or country, the ACM will create automatically permission setup for them. Yeah, but usually these days this is a manual step when rolling out new languages and so on. So this is the great power of ACM and a great example, I believe, what you could do with it. All right, the last things that I would like to show you is how to extend the ACM. So the difference when comparing to Groovy Console, you don't need to implement OSGI service. You could just provide extension script, simple as that. So to just provide new variables to the script, use that prepare run hook for doing something extra when your script execution ends, use complete run. You could send email, I don't know, send Slack notifications and so on. All right, and the very last thing, let's jump to the AEM Cloud service. And imagine that somebody from business team asked me, Krystian, some page at production is looking bad. Just delete it from everywhere, from author, from publishers, everywhere. Just do it quickly, and their team maybe. I'm allowing you, So you could do something like that. We could save as such a script, ugly page remover on adaptTo, for example. Here we have a toggle to indicating that we'll do it on not only author instances, but also on publishers. Let's save it. And let's wait a few seconds. and go to the history. And refresh, yeah. It's live demo, you know. Ugly page remover adaptTo worked on author at least, but check this out. I went to the Slack and I'm seeing that that script was executed on publish, on golden publish as well. So everywhere, yeah. So this is quick and dirty, but very powerful. You know, with the great power comes great responsibility. You need to be aware, yeah. So be careful, but see the power of ACM. Thank you.
Nice. Speed run. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Krystian. This was awesome. Yeah. So this was my slide in case the demo didn't go too well, but we're not going to use that. We don't need it anymore. So just to wrap up and give you a bit of, apart from the demo, which I think eventually will be, the recording will be shared, wanted to just summarize what we saw a bit and do that competitor analysis that I've mentioned to you. To prove the point, right? So as you saw, we have super vivid live outputs colored, so you see all the time, both at the coding time and at the runtime when the outputs are there, you see immediately what's going on, right? Which is a completely different game compared to Groovy Console and the which didn't have anything like that. It's super easy to abort the execution, stop it, stop also scripts that are automatic on, for example, publish instances. So even if you deployed some scripts with code and they are running automatically, you stumble upon the issue, you can literally in runtime without doing code redeployment urgently just abort them on all instances if there are problems with them. You have that super cool Monaco editor, which has all of the cool features that VS Code has, which is, again, these days super easy to implement, super easy to maintain because it's a massive open source library, which means there's someone else maintaining it and we don't need to worry about the fact that the whole UI is written in jQuery and it's going to die in 3 years, right? Which is just great because it's someone else's problem to manage the whole UI. As Krystian was mentioning, the whole safeguards and safe checks are super important in the tool. The moment you start running anything automatically on AEM, especially in AEM as a cloud service, you have to be super careful when you run it, whether it's a healthy instance, etc. It's also important on AMS, I guess, and on-prem. So all of those checks are built into the tool so that they literally help you not to harm yourself by trying to run something too early on or on unstable instance and maybe destabilize it even further by doing some either heavy checks or heavy modifications. As you saw, it's super easy to extend. So you have the snippets, which already have a myriad of functionalities for you, but you can easily write your own extension scripts that you can then keep reusing in any functionality you have. So like coming back to one of the talks we had today about permissions and like best practices for applying permissions, not using denies, you can easily write yourself those small snippets of scripts that can be reused by the developers to apply permissions. So you can literally abstract it from them instead of working on bare bone AEM permission system. You can give them some script, like baseline scripts to enforce some good practices in your code. Also something super important, it's a standalone self-sufficient package. It has everything in it. It's a one package, and it's the same package for both AEM as a cloud service and on-prem. So, and for local SDK, etc. So you don't need to work out and have a PhD to work out which version of libraries and Groovy Console and what not to install so that it doesn't explode in your face. Now, 6 more reasons why to use ACM, that those first 6 reasons were not enough. As you saw, the whole permission management is with scripting, so whatever crazy logic you need to run, you're not limited by YAMLs, by DSLs. You have runtime access to the instance when you're running those permission scripts, so whatever you need to check, you can check it in runtime. You can mix it with inputs, with the reports that you generate at the end, so you have like a full-blown pipeline to run whatever permission situation you're at, you can operate it. And as Krystian was showing, super easy to just apply delta of permissions because you have that runtime access. You can check if there is new content that you didn't apply the permissions to and run just that. The people who have been trying to run, even with something like APMs, the purge for 200 markets for permissions and then reapplication, which takes half an hour, these things can freeze the instance, literally. This is much more clever than those tools that do all or nothing kind of execution. Yeah, everything, because it's Groovy and scripting, everything is just in time, execution and compilation, right? So you can deploy your scripts in many different ways. You don't have to wait half an hour for full stack deployment pipeline. Because generally, I think there's a thing that Krystian did not mention. We do recommend, and it's absolutely a best practice, to deploy those scripts from a code, from GitHub, right? Even though it's powerful and you can do many things manually, for those critical automation tasks, you should follow coding best practices. You should write them, get your colleagues to peer review them, and then deploy them, right? It's you know, those scripts are super powerful. They have access to the all of AEM APIs, so be careful. The whole thing is API first, so if you want to, for example, marry the script execution with your CI/CD, or have maybe some external dashboards where you want to show the execution of scripts, etc., it's all there as well. So you can just pull in from APIs everything that you can see on the screen. You can start scripts, check the execution, abort them, etc. And yeah, last but not least, just to reiterate, it's built on React on Monaco. So the whole console is built with React. The editor is built on Monaco, and the whole underlying system for running it is based on Sling jobs. So this is not some black magic that is going to fall over next week. It's built on something really robust, because Sling jobs are robust and they work well, really well in AEM as a cloud service situation, right? So all of that stuff is there. Now, how you can use this? So I think Krystian was trying to give you a few examples of where this can be used. You can update content at any scale automatically. Imagine rolling out changes to 5,000 pages, to 50 pages, to 100, whatever bulk content updates you need to do automatically after the deployment, during the deployment, or even as an ad hoc action. You can do all of that with this console. It's really good for refactoring content. Imagine you're moving, for example, from AEM on-prem to as a cloud service, right? What you will usually do is probably use Adobe tools to just move your content into cloud. But then usually with that, ideally, you're doing some content refactoring, moving to core components, whatever that is, maybe to editable templates. You can use all of that scripting to just migrate thousands of pages from one structure to another easily. And you can generate reports out of that, whatever your script is all about. It's super cool for running ad hoc analysis of content. So imagine someone comes and says, hey, where are we using this feature, right? You have implemented something on the system and suddenly someone comes and asks about it. You can just write yourself a script in a few minutes, just run it. It can run on both author and publish. So in a few minutes, you literally have the answer you're looking for. You can use it for importing data, right? And even exporting it. If you think about it, it's a scheduled runner of any scripts. So you can actually try to break the boundaries of it and look for more use cases. And what we've seen already, like massively, it frees up content authors from doing those bulk hundreds of changes operations, right? It started becoming a pattern where they come to the operations team to just do like a bulk change in minutes across hundreds of pages instead of spending days doing that, right? So cost-wise for large operations, it's awesome. And now, can you use it today? Yes, you can. Works on Java 8, 11, 21, on-prem AEM, local SDK, AEM as a cloud service. It was tested on all of them, literally. And even Krystian today showed that it works on 6.5, literally, even without a single service pack locally. And it works like a charm in AEM as a cloud service. And it's a single package, super easy to install. So if you've been using anything like ACS Commons, AECU, Groovy Console, ACM Tool, if you know how to install this, you will easily handle.
No excuse.
There's no excuse, yeah, literally. It's super easy to install it. Yeah, and just an example, because I've jumped the guns a bit earlier. All of the APIs are like RESTful and Sling orientated, so everything that the tool can do is effectively wrapped up under a Sling resource. So it's super easy to apply permissions. So if you want to limit who can do what, it's super easy to just cut that off, and it's all just JSON based. So really easy to integrate with anything you want to integrate it with. Yeah. The super useful links, GitHub repo, obviously it's open source, so you can check it out there. It's published already to Maven Central, so if you just wanna include it as a package into your project, it's already publicly available. And soon there will be a tech blog about it, which will which will talk about more or less the similar things as here, but we'll try to explore on what are the use cases for it. I think we'll try to spend a bit of time there to show you how powerful it can be. And that's it. Thank you very much. This was just in time. 3 seconds.
Thank you. That was a great way to wrap up the day. You have a couple questions which have been highly voted. Yeah, so let's jump right into it. Yeah.
Sure.
First one, how would you handle a use case where a script must be executed directly after AEM as a cloud service deployment?
Great question. So the easiest way I would say is to include it in the package, because this tool detects when new scripts show up and the automatic ones. So all you need to do is literally deploy the script into the correct place inside the package. And it can be full stack package. It can be also a regular content package. If any of you are using front-end pipelines, for sure you discovered already that if you want to deploy templates or anything like sample content, you need to use just regular content packages. You can include those scripts wherever you want, pretty much. Of course, again, with great power comes great responsibility. You need to make sure that people who have access to that are aware of the responsibility they bear to deploy them. So it's just package installation, as simple as that.
We try to cover all cases. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. Next one. What about Kubernetes pods restarting in the cloud at any time? How is the tool handling it?
Yeah, so all of the changes in the history is written to the repos, so it's idempotent, it's safe, so it knows whether it executed them. If it's going to stop midway, it will pretty much restart itself when the whole instance is up and running. So you can literally shut it down in the middle of it and then restart it, and it's going to work itself out and restart the automatic job pretty much.
Basically guaranteed by Sling jobs, based on the documentation. So it was aligned to be compatible with that AEM as a cloud service AEM outdoor cluster, and it was battle, but it works.
It was a bit of a. That's why I was asking, how do we work out if something is a leader, and why is it so hard? Because let's say we had some hard times with the leader concept on AEM as a cloud service author. It was an uphill battle. So.
One more.
Maybe I will just mention one super important thing, because it wasn't here. This does not rely on install hooks at all, right? So we binned that whole concept, because those install hooks they don't fit AEM as a cloud service world at all. So this does not rely on install hooks at all. It's literally based on listeners on the repo, like native ones, and Sling jobs and schedulers.
Hookless.
That could be a hook, right? So how does the ACM tool handle session management and resource resolution, maybe for long-running operations that need multiple JCR interactions?
Sure. So when you run it from the console, it runs on behalf of you as a user, obviously, so you can manage permissions, and it's going to have as good permissions as you do. When it comes to the automatic scripts that are running, obviously it relies on a service user concept underneath. Again, you can control how much permissions that user has. If you want that whole tool, for example, not to have write permissions, because you don't want to do that, you can just give it read permissions. But then it runs on behalf of its own. On one of the screens, I think maybe you spotted it, there was an ACM user that ran the script. ACM means that the tool ran the script on its own automatically through its own service user, because obviously when it's an automated script, there's no human to run it, right? That's the whole point, that there is no human involved, so the tool runs it on its own.
Great, thank you.
Thank you
very much. Thanks, everyone.
Huge round of applause, please. Yeah.